This video offers a comprehensive analysis of the various iterations of TIE fighters featured in the Star Wars universe. The animated content delves into both official Canon and Legends continuity, as well as several fan-made versions, and examines approximately 30 distinct models of TIE fighters referenced throughout the franchise. Let's start with the TIE fighter, which was the standard Imperial starfighter seen in massive numbers throughout most of the Galactic Civil War and onward. The TIE fighter engine was one of the most precisely manufactured propulsion systems in the galaxy with no moving parts and was low maintenance. The lack of combat shields, hyperdrive, and life support systems, in concert with the advanced engine design, reduced the mass of the fighter and conferred exceptional maneuverability. This also made them both inexpensive and quick to replace. Equipped with upgraded ion engines and 4 blaster cannons, the TIE Interceptor is faster, more maneuverable, and better armed than any of its predecessors, and outperforms all other craft in a dogfight. The TIE Bomber was developed to take over the task of orbital bombardment from the Empire's capital ships. With its massive ordnance capacity, this formidable assault ship can be deployed against ground and space-based targets, delivering its lethal load with pinpoint accuracy. Vader piloted a TIE Advanced. It is a more capable ship than the standard TIE fighters, with a more sophisticated target tracking system and an augmented engine assembly fed by high-conversion solar cells on its bent wings, giving deadly speed and maneuverability. Unlike standard TIEs, it has both protective shields and hyperdrive capability. The TIE Advanced V1 starfighter was equipped with rudimentary shields and unique S-foils that could retract around the cockpit to save hangar space, in contrast to the X1. Its design also stood out among other TIE models with solar panels located solely on the inside of the wings, while the outer surfaces were armored to enhance protection against lateral attacks from enemies. Undoubtedly, the TIE Advanced V1 represented a pioneering and innovative approach to starfighter design, earning it great esteem within the Imperial Navy. The TIE Defender represented a significant shift in starfighter design. This high-performance TIE series starfighter was equipped with a hyperdrive and deflector shields, enabling it to operate independently of Imperial capital ships. Its impressive speed and agility, along with its array of advanced weaponry, including 4 laser cannons and an optional tractor beam projector, made it one of the most advanced starfighters of its time. However, it departed from the design of previous TIE models, with 3 quadanium steel solar array wings mounted around an aft section, instead of the typical 2 parallel wings. The Defender's speed and agility were unmatched, making it one of the fastest starfighters in use during the Galactic Civil War. The TIE Dagger belonged to the TIE series of starships that had previously served as the preferred starfighter for both the Galactic Empire and First Order. It was armed with laser cannons located beneath the bulk cockpit, as well as 2 heavy laser cannons positioned between the solar collector wing and the suspended winglet. These cannons gave it a formidable advantage in starfighter combat. The ship featured a cockpit, 2 triangular-shaped wings with solar collectors, and twin ion engines. The TIE Heavy starfighter, simply known as the TIE Brute, was used by the Galactic Empire, distinguished by its extra pod housing more powerful laser cannons. Unlike the regular TIE starfighter, it was equipped with life support and a pressure-controlled cockpit. Kylo Ren's TIE Silencer was a TIE space superiority fighter used during the First Order's war with the Resistance. The TIE Silencer was noted for its speed and ferocity, as well as its laser cannons and missile launchers. It is also a longer ship, measuring about 17.5 meters or 57 feet in length, and comes equipped with a hyperdrive system, a deflector shield generator, and projector. The TIE Hunter is utilized almost exclusively by the Storm Commandos of the Galactic Empire, which results in its infrequent sightings. Due to the limited production of the craft and ongoing discussions within Naval Command regarding the implementation of weapons enhanced with the designs of their adversaries, the TIE Hunter is not employed beyond the Storm Commandos. The Imperial light armored vehicle known as the Century Tank, or TIE Crawler, was an improbable amalgamation of 2 distinct vehicle types. Resembling a TIE starfighter cockpit suspended between 2 massive tank treads, it was only capable of accommodating a single person who served as both the pilot and gunner. The tank featured a pair of medium blaster cannons and the customary chin mounts typically seen on TIE cockpits. Additionally, a retractable light turbolaser positioned below the cockpit ball provided the tank with substantial firepower. The TIE AP-1, also called the TIE Mauler, was a ground assault vehicle utilized by the Imperial forces in the early years of the Galactic Civil War. As part of the TIE series and similar to the Century tank, it was designed to provide the Empire with a swift ground assault option against the growing rebellion. The Mauler boasted 3 laser cannons and an advanced self-destruct mechanism, but its lightweight construction made it vulnerable to damage. Despite being designed for the war, it saw minimal action, and the Empire eventually replaced it with the TIE Crawler, which was based on its design. Scimitar assault bomber had a streamlined, elongated body with a forward module that housed both the pilot and the gunner. This module could also function as an escape pod in the event of an emergency. The bomber's fuselage was supported by 2 large, elongated array wings on either side. To further enhance its maneuverability, the bomber was equipped with interlocked repulsor lift thrusters, which gave the bomber superior agility. The TIE Baron served as a TIE Interceptor model that was utilized by the First Order. It possessed the hyperdrive, which was a modern technology that the First Order integrated into their more advanced models. Additionally, its crimson appearance implied that the abilities of its pilot surpassed those of the Special Forces TIE pilots, whose vessels only had a red stripe. The Interceptor's arsenal comprised 4 laser cannons located on the wingtips, along with projectile launchers that could release magpulse warheads and concussion missiles. During the New Republic's battles in 10 ABY, the reborn Emperor Palpatine employed the TIE Automated Fighter, also known as the Drone TIE Fighter. This TIE Series starfighter retained the standard TIE Series command pod, which featured twin ion engines and twin laser cannons but was enhanced with supplementary armor plating and rectangular wing panels that could be adjusted for pitch. The starfighter incorporated rectangular solar arrays with a movable wing servo, which provided power to the generator. Unlike conventional TIE fighters, the drone TIE fighter was controlled by a droid brain, rather than a living pilot. The TIE Mining Guild starfighters were modified TIE Space Superiority starfighters that the Mining Guild was allowed to use due to its association with the Galactic Empire. In order to make the fighters clearly distinct from the ones in direct service of the Galactic Empire, they had a yellow color scheme. They also had a notch cut in their stabilizers, giving them only 8 solar collectors instead of 12, which gave them improved visibility, but greatly diminished their combat capabilities and maneuverability. The TIE First Order was designed to house a single TIE pilot aided by a flight computer, subspace communications antenna, sensor array, and even a shield generator to create an onboard deflector shield. Advancements from the Empire included onboard deflector shields that provided better protection and offensive capabilities, improved solar cells, and higher capacity converters. However, like its Imperial predecessor, the TIE lacked a hyperdrive, making it dependent on carrier vessels for transport and limiting it to short-range missions. The First Order utilized the TIE Bomber series, which comprised of bombers featuring 2 central pods, one of which contained a cockpit, reminiscent of the Galactic Empire's old TIE bombers. The updated version of the bomber possessed notched wings akin to the original TIE Interceptor, with a squared-off engine bank at the rear. The TIE variant was equipped with 4 solar collectors that doubled as wings, each with 4 laser cannons located on the forward tips. The experimental TIE Striker is a series of Imperial combat fighters that appear in the Star Wars anthology movie, Rogue One. Used by the Galactic Empire, the TIE Striker is twice as fast as the standard TIE fighters. A streamlined variant of the classic TIE fighter design, the TIE Striker is designed for atmospheric patrols over important Imperial ground-based installations. The TIE Oppressor Strike Starfighter is classified as a heavy fighter within the Imperial Navy, and only Imperial ace pilots are authorized to fly these gunships. They are equipped with 2 weapons pods and 3 ordnance bays, which compensates for their potential lack of maneuverability with overwhelming firepower. Notably, the TIE Oppressor features a unique dorsal third solar array and a larger mass than many other starships. The TIE Phantom, also referred to as a Phantom V-38, was a prototype TIE series starfighter developed by the Galactic Empire during the Galactic Civil War. A modified V-38 assault fighter was equipped with both deflector shields and a hyperdrive, along with the technology not seen for decades, a cloaking device. The fighter was designed for a crew of two, one piloting the vessel, while the other acted as a gunner and co-pilot. The TIE Raptor was a smaller variant of the standard TIE fighter. Like all TIE series craft, the Raptor had a spherical cockpit with an octagonal forward window, but rather than the usual large wings on either side, it had 4 short fins protruding directly from the cockpit assembly at right angles to one another. Although not as fast as a TIE Interceptor, it was as maneuverable as an A-wing, and heavily armed, with 4 laser cannons and 2 concussion missile tubes. The Outland TIE fighter possessed wings that could fold when landing on a flat surface, making it easy to access the cockpit and giving it a unique appearance that resembled the X-Wing starfighter's S-foils in an open position. Moreover, the landing gears were concealed inside the cockpit's underside, which made it more stable and user-friendly. Moff Gideon's personal starfighter, the Outland fighter, was utilized by his Imperial remnant during the New Republic era, with at least one being flown by the Moff himself. The TIE Experimental M1 was an experimental spacecraft developed as part of the TIE series. The M1 was a unique starfighter that consisted of a single standard TIE starfighter wing panel with 2 wing braces. It had a pair of standard TIE series cockpits, with the control systems located in the port pod and a heavy turbo laser in the starboard pod. The turbo laser on the M1 was significantly more powerful than the laser cannons installed on any previous fighter. Both pods had the trademark twin-ion engines of the TIE series, and the fighter was actually slightly faster than the standard TIE starfighter. The TIE Predator was developed as a successor to the outdated TIE Interceptor used by the Galactic Empire over a century prior. Despite its heavy armament and exceptional maneuverability, the Predator was unlike most TIEs in that it was equipped with hyperdrives and a deflector shield generated by its distinctive blade-shaped wings. These wings, similar to those of the Nssis-class craft, could be repositioned for improved maneuverability. However, the advanced technologies integrated into the wings proved to be a significant maintenance challenge. At 24 meters long or 79 feet, the TIE Scout was one of the largest TIE variants, and it was distinctive in appearance, with a tall, elongated main fuselage behind the cockpit, flanked by large, bent-wing solar panels. Although slow and not very maneuverable by starfighter standards, either heavily armored nor heavily armed, it boasted an impressive suite of comscan equipment, and its enlarged hull could accommodate a crew of up to 3, sometimes including a second pilot. The most notable feature of the TIE Scout was that it carried the most capable hyperdrive of any TIE variant. The Nssis-class craft was primarily used by the Nssis Ascendancy, a powerful and secretive civilization. The cloakraft was equipped with a sophisticated cloaking device that allows it to become invisible to sensors and the naked eye. This makes it an excellent reconnaissance and stealth craft, as it can gather intelligence and conduct surprise attacks without being detected. The fuselage was based on the ubiquitous ball cockpit of the TIE series of Imperial starfighters, with a Scimitar ion drive pod mounted on the rear, but stemming from the junction of cockpit and drive pod were 2 pairs of curving wings which thrust out like an X-wing strikefoils, and then extended forward in a claw-like grip around the cockpit. An ugly, also known as a Jew-skin, was any type of starfighter that had been cobbled together out of parts that had been salvaged from varying origins, including crashed starfighters and ex-military surplus. The Ugly wasn't really part of the TIE series but does use many of the components from TIE technology. Many Uglies during the New Republic era were amalgamations of parts from Rebel and Imperial craft, and were used by gangs, pirates, and mercenary fleets. The TIE Experimental M4, also known as the TIE Bomb, was a guided missile based on TIE series technology. With wing panels taken directly from the TIE Bomber and a similar central pod and wing struts, the TIE M4 was loaded with enough explosives to detonate with 5 times the explosive force of a kamikaze TIE starfighter. The TIE Interdictor bomber had wings and a command module that was nearly identical to those found on a TIE bomber and TIE heavy bomber. However, the command module was flanked on both sides by a pair of ordnance pods, for a total of 4. They could also include enhanced sensors. The ship was piloted by one individual, and was equipped with shields, largely to ensure that their payload arrived at its destination. The armor was stronger than other TIE models, but the craft did not include a hyperdrive. The TIE Interdictor was armed with linked laser cannons and ordnance pods, able to carry 12 concussion missiles, or proton torpedoes. The modified TIE Interceptor or TIE Whisper underwent modifications tailored to the exact specifications of Supreme Leader Kylo Ren from the First Order, resulting in enhanced speed, range, and firepower capabilities beyond those of the standard model. Like other starships, it had a twin-ion engine and its wings were solar collectors, which were similar in appearance to Ren's previous ship. Lastly, I simply intended to exhibit some variations of TIE fighters created by fans. Overall, this is a comprehensive resource for fans of Star Wars who are interested in learning more about the different variations of TIE fighters. By including both canon and legend continuity, viewers can gain a broader understanding of the history and evolution of these iconic ships throughout the franchise. With detailed information on around 30 models of TIE fighters, the video is sure to provide a wealth of knowledge and insights for fans of all levels of expertise. So, what is your favorite TIE fighter variant? Let me know in the comments section below. Like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.